What could go wrong with your media production? Tripping and causing injury? Flash photography can cause temporary blindness or epileptic attacks. Damage of instruments or equipment? Deafening if the bands are playing instruments. It is important to budget your promotion. Underspending can lead to poor media production. On the other hand, however, overspending can lead to poverty. Here you can see our finance administrator creating important spreadsheets with formulas to determine what you should buy with your budget. As you can see, he or she has drafted several lists in case the budget goes up or down. Being prepared is often the key to survival. Time. Does it really exist? Probably the most vital part of artist promotion is scheduling. This will plan out how each team member will spend their time working. It is important to stay on schedule. If it is strayed from, consequences may arise. Reaching deadlines is crucial when getting things done in a rush. The shorter the deadline, the quicker you have to act on the task that needs to be completed. Not getting something done before the deadline can cause the rest of your team to miss their deadlines, creating a domino effect of failures. Now we are going to learn how draft designs are made for the print media products. For this task, you will need the following: a pencil or other drawing tool, a sheet of paper, and a graphic designer. If shooting on location, you may be required to check it out beforehand. You should document the possible safety hazards. It is also necessary to get documented permission from the landowner. You will need to make sure there is a nearby hospital, as well as toilets, food, and shelter. Where does money come from? For artist promotion, we get money from the three possible commissioners: either a band's record label, a magazine, or if the band isn't signed, then from the band manager. For a photo shoot, you may require equipment such as smoke machines, lighting, props, a camera, and a tripod. For post-production, a computer is needed for the graphic artist. These will have to be taken into account in the budgeting spreadsheet we made earlier. Transport will have to be booked and paid for in advance. You will need enough for the band, the crew, and both parties' equipment. This will roughly cost £140 for 1 day of 3 vans. Money can be exchanged for goods from local vendors. Materials you may require include screens, backdrops, props, and costume. These can all be brought with money. If shooting a band, this could be cheap if you use their instruments as props. Meet Anthony Wilkinson, a local venue owner. Anthony, can we hire your venue? Venues can be hired for money from venue owners like Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. It is important to include clearances in your financial budget. This means paying for the fonts or images you use in your media production, so you have the right to use them. Paying for these avoids legal repercussions. A crew will have to be assembled. It should consist of a photographer, a writer, a graphic artist, and any additional lighting or effect technicians. They will all require expensive pay. The importance of having personnel is crucial. Key examples are the size of your team. You don't want short cameramen when bird's eye shots are required. The correct height for a cameraman is 167.05 centimeters. Skilled and experienced crew members are valued high. Cheaper employment can lead to unprofessionalism. Where do people come from? To find the best team, you may have to look online, or advertise. For models, you may have to go to a modelling agency. The crew will have regular scheduled meetings to discuss progress and setbacks. The major facilities required for a media promotion includes where you want to shoot the artist and any office space needed for post-production. You should book office and studio space in advance to avoid complete failure. Your production is everything you need to gather the raw materials to create the media production. This includes cameras, tripods, and other effects. These can be brought or hired, so you will have to take care of them. Facilities needed for post-production, including a computer and the necessary software. The facility house is key and important for all facilities to be kept and stored where no other human being can gain access. Keep the location safe and secure. The availability of all equipment, location premises and transport, etc. is key that you get yourself sorted out and get everything ready before it goes out of stock and nothing becomes available for your team to work on. Cost is very important when purchasing all types of equipment. You will need to keep in mind not to get ripped off by other people selling faulty or overpriced equipment. When hiring out some key objects, care must be taken for all rented materials and it should be given back on time in good condition. All costumes can be supplied by the people themselves to save money and keep the budget down on the low. The internet could be used to easily find information for your media production. Well, easier than using a book at least. Health and safety should be your #1 priority. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you should have a man of medicine on site at all times. A doctor? A dentist? Don't be silly. A mortician. Finally, we must go over 5 main topics of codes of practice and regulation. If you use work from a source that is copyrighted, you could face a fine or even get all of your work taken away. ASA stands for Advertising Standards Authority and is the UK's independent regulator. They apply the advertising codes which are written by the advertising practice. Their purpose and ambition is to make advertisements responsible and to make every UK advert a sensible viewing. Their work includes acting on complaints and always checking the media to take action against misleading, harmful or offensive advertisements. Ofcom is the communications regulator in the UK. They regulate the TV and radio sectors, fixed line telecoms, mobiles, postal services, plus the airwaves with which wireless devices operate. Key examples that Ofcom take notice are the following: protecting under 18s, harm and offence, religion, privacy, and many more. An example would be protecting the audience from the use of offensive language and the portrayal of sex and violence, which is not justified by the context of the programme, and you will receive a rather unpleasant email from the authorities. There are 3 different types of insurance, including having insurance on crew members and actors, equipment for filming, and insurance for the general public. This is very important to ensure you do not get sued.
This well-known album artwork, Tom Jones, Rescue Me, has been created for media print production. To make this successful album artwork, his hair has been styled by a hairstylist. Also, lighting has been used here for pink and here for yellow to make this picture stand out. The typography has been purchased or made by a graphic designer, and the picture has also been edited using Photoshop. This picture is very risky. At any time, this lady could have fallen over, crushing Tom Jones between her thighs. This will need to be documented in the risk assessment. Also, this picture could be classed as offensive. Not only have we got a nipple, we also have the lady's legs over Tom Jones's head, suggesting sex.
Thank you for the Dove. Great album cover. First of all, typography. Thank you for the Dove. It's obviously going to be bought or created from a graphic designer. Bird prop. Obviously, like I've said, it's a prop, which is obviously after being bought or maybe even created. Graphic designer for the picture editing. It's obviously an animated picture with man being edited and everything else around it. Background. Most probably a green screen, so a studio hire has had to be needed for this. And as you can see, that is about all for this album cover. So thank you for the Dove.
Pedro, Pinho, E, Paulo Pontes. A very well-known Mexican album artwork. So, what is needed to create this album artwork? Firstly, costume. They are both wearing costumes. These would have to be hired from a costume hiring agency. Also, they both have hair and makeup. These would have to be done by a stylist on the scene. You can see here that there is a border on this album artwork. This was probably done by a graphic artist. As well as this, the typography would have to be purchased online from a font company. A photographer would also be needed to take the photos, and studio space would be needed to be hired to create this clean background you see here. Adios, my amigos.